Okay guys, so now let's talk here about how to escape from that situation where we just talked about when they have one arm trapped and they're going to north-south and there's a bunch of submissions from there. For example, Kimura, side control, Kimura, armbar, north-south choke. There's a lot of submissions in this subject, so let's try to cover them and see where you guys get. So let's imagine I'm fighting against Zach, and he gets my arm over here, and he gets the hand on my hip, and he starts going to the north-south over there. So guys, first thing first, I should try to use this arm to avoid him going there. Okay, that's gonna be like the first escape, even though it's not a submission yet, but that should avoid us to let him go into the side control and start attacking this arm. But as we know in Jiu-Jitsu, for every attack there is counter-attack, so he could easily use like his left knee to beat my arm and ended up getting where he wants to get, which is over here, okay? Guys, when he's over here, there are a few options that can happen here. One is the north-south choke. So he can give up this arm to go to my head, and if my head is up, he can get the north-south choke there and get a submission. So if I see that the north-south choke is a trap, what I should do is keep my head on the ground, okay? And then when he tries to go there, he doesn't find space to go, okay? So that's one option. But many times, guys, what happens here is like my opponent, he just hangs out over here, okay? And then when he see or when he notices that I lift my head up, that's the time he goes to the choke. So what I should do is, as soon as I feel that he's coming, I should completely move sideways over here and not let him lock the north-south choke as he wants. I always want to put my cheeks against his ribs, okay? So that's how we're going to stop the north-south choke. But now let's picture the scenario that he's going to go to attack this arm over here. So he got here, he's going to try to put me a little bit sideways, and he's going to try to attack this arm. So one thing that can happen is like he goes to the arm bar. So from here, he goes to the arm bar. Guys, if he goes to the arm bar, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here talking about the arm bar. What I would suggest is like, in this instructional, go back to the arm bar section from the mounts because everything is pretty much the same. I have this arm here, I can connect my hands, I can come up if the opportunity pops up, or I can let my arm go and turn, okay? And remember to not use resistance and etc, etc, etc. So it's pretty much the same arm bar escapes that we're talking about. The only difference is that in this situation, just turn the angle. The only difference in this situation, he doesn't have this lag, which is good and bad. Bad because I cannot put him in the Hefner, but also is good because it's easier for me to come up, it's easier for me to roll, and it's easier for me to pull my elbow out, okay? So what I would say is like to defend the armbar, just go back in the structural video to the armbar section from the mounts and everything's going to be pretty similar. But let's talk about how to defend the Kimura. So one thing that can happen here is like he put me sideways to go to the Kimura, okay? So guys, what I'm going to do is, first thing first, I'm going to control my belt, okay? So Zach, put your both knees on the ground. Yeah, Zach is here, he has this Kimura set up. And in this time here, so I'm going to control my belt, okay? Now what I'm going to do is, let's really think what he's trying to do here. He's trying to put me a little sideways. There's even a chance that he's going to lift his right leg up to force me to stay sideways. And then he wants to break my grip and go for the Kimura. So what should we be thinking here about doing, okay? Guys, if he wants to put me sideways, I want to find a way to put my back on the ground. So how I'm going to do this is placing my both feet on the ground and bridging. Once I bridge, I automatically get a little flat. So as you can see, I'm a little sideways here, and I'm going to try to bridge. Even if he places his knee behind my back, the bridge is going to still help me out. Look, guys, once I did that, there's a little gap here between my elbow and his arms. And I'm going to take advantage of that gap to pull my arm down and get rid of the Kimura. Okay? So for example, if he gets the Kimura here, don't try to just pull your arm down because that's not going to work. I have to find this gap over here. Look, now there's a little gap that I can pull my arm out. Okay? So how do I find that gap? It's going to be, connecting to over there. It's going to be giving myself a little bridge. Also, I do this bridge, I stay flat. Also, I stay flat, I created that gap. And now I can pull my arm out and escape. Let's change the angle a little more. So he's going to get the Kimura. Okay? He's pulling myself sideways. So remember, we want to deconstruct the position. So if I'm sideways, I want to be flat. But how am I going to go flat here? There's no way. So I'm going to bring my both feet together. I'm going to bridge, stay flat. I create that little gap over there. And I'm just going to yank my arm out and get out of the Kimura. So how this is how we're gonna protect ourselves from this type of attack, which he wraps one arm and he goes to the north-south. So we're talking about defending versus the north-south choke, defending versus the armbar, and how to defend against the Kimura. I think those are the three submissions we have there, and they're very popular submissions in the side control. Old guy's flats.
I like this better than being in mount.
What do you mean?
Side control is more comfortable.
For who is older?
For the person at the bottom, yeah. Well, for everyone, I think, but...
I got it.
Yeah.
And, no, that makes sense. And for example, but it's interesting because, maybe because I'm younger, I prefer the mount than the side control many times, because side control, many times, I feel I'm stuck. It's hard to get out. And mount, I feel like I have the bridge, I have the elbow escape. I think it's an easier connection for me to the half guard. So it's interesting to see that. You feel more comfort. I think it might be less painful for you being on the side control than being on the mount. Is that right?
It is. And also it's comfortable to see you doing this where the armbar escapes now get repeated. Yep. So that you learn it in one sense and then you have it that you can use it in all different positions.
I agree. Yeah, because it's the principles, right? It's pretty much the same principles. The only thing that's different there is that the right leg is bent in that armbar.
Yeah, and how you get into the armbar, there's seemingly infinite possibilities of getting armbarred.
I agree.
But that you can go back to the basics that we covered. And
I agree. That's why I was like, we should not even waste so much time here because it's going to pretty much be a 90% overlap with the mount armbar.
Right.
So does that make sense?
It does, definitely.
So let's keep moving.